In this video, we'll be discussing using arithMATIC in Adobe Premiere Pro. So let's get started. arithMATIC is useful in cases where you need to determine what has changed from frame to frame. So maybe you have footage of a theft or burglary scene and you want to compare video tracks from before and after the burglary occurred. So we have this clip here, which shows before and after. Things have obviously been taken. So we'll use this to demonstrate how arithMATIC works in Premiere. Okay, so first thing is you're going to want to place this clip on your timeline, and you want to place it after the burglary has occurred. So you can see right about here, that's where these things are all gone. So we'll mark an in point there, and then mark an out point right about there. And we're going to put this onto our timeline. So the easiest way to apply this to our timeline is to take the clip, drag it and drop it onto this new item icon here, and that will create a new sequence with all the characteristics of this clip, including frames per second, size, all that stuff, as well as the in and out marks that we chose up here. So drag this on just like that. A new sequence is created. Okay. Now the next step is to take the same clip and mark ins and outs before the burglary occurred. So let's go to the beginning, mark an in, and then go to just before that all goes away, mark an out point, and we're going to drag this and drop it onto V2 down here. So the easiest way to do that is take this little icon right here, a little hand appears, drag video only, and drop it right onto V2. And if you want these to be the same length, you can do that. Just drag this tail right here, just like that. Okay, so V2 is now before, and if I toggle the track, this little eyeball icon here, V1 is after. So V2 before, V1 after. Okay, so our project is set up. So let's go ahead and apply arithMATIC to this timeline. So to get to arithMATIC, you need to have your Effects tab open. If you don't have an Effects tab, go to Window, choose Effects, and then go down to Video Effects, choose dTective, and then find arithMATIC in the dTective category. And there's two ways to apply it. One is to drag and drop, and you're going to want to drag and drop this to V2. That's important. So drag it, drop it onto V2, undo that, because you can also highlight the track you want to apply the effect to, and then just double click, and the effect is applied. So now we can start talking about how the effect works. And the way you do that is to go into the Effect Controls. That tab is right here. If you don't have an Effect Controls tab, go to Window, choose Effect Controls right there. Okay. And here is arithMATIC. The default mode is subtraction, so we'll talk about that first. What you want to do first is select input 2, which in this case is going to be video track 1. Okay, and immediately you can see that it's already pointing out that there's differences between the tracks by highlighting those differences here. But you can further refine these adjustments and these findings using the scale and blend settings. So these are sliders, so you can drag these over to the right, and you'll see that the differences in the video between the two video tracks begin to really glow. So you can see here, here, here. These are all appearing and they're sort of glowing, pointing out that these are the differences between the two tracks of video. And this slider, you can drag the slider. You can also highlight the number and type a number in there. So maybe just put a 5, and that works. And then the blend slider lets you blend the two tracks. So blend right now is at 100, but if you drag this to the left, you're starting to blend V2 and V1. So in this case, more blend is better. Okay. So that's subtraction. Let's talk about addition. The addition mode brightens your overall image. And again, you're going to use two tracks of video just like before. So this is all the same. It's all exactly the same setup. You have before on V2 and after on V1. That's all the same. And again, it's going to be scale and blend for your settings. Let's drag the scale back a little bit. And you can see that these are starting to show up a little bit better now, these differences. And then blend, same thing here. You can really start to blend those two tracks together And you can see as I blend, it's pretty obvious what's different. Okay, so that's addition. Now let's talk about multiplication. And multiplication also is a way to brighten your overall image. So again, you're going to use a scale slider. And then you'll also use the blend tool to really see the difference. So you can see as I drag each of these sliders, you can really see a difference between the two images. Okay. So when you'll use these different modes really depends on your footage. And we'll now talk about division. And division is a little bit different. So let's create a whole new timeline. Go back to our project. Because division works in an inverse way than the other modes. So let me explain that. So the first thing we're going to do is actually place the video on our timeline before the change took place rather than after. So let's create a whole new timeline. This is before the change took place, so we already have our ins and outs set for that. So we'll drag this to our new item icon here. And let's go to where the change took place. So here, and we'll take that and we'll place that on V2. Let's shore these up a little bit. Okay. And then we will reapply arithmetic to V2. Go to our effect controls. We're going to choose division this time. And for our input, we're going to choose video 1. Okay. And right off the bat, you can see there's a change. It's sort of showing what has changed, just like before, but in a different way. And again, your adjustments are scale and blend. Turn these on. And you can really see it's highlighting the changes there really, really well. Okay, and the last thing to talk about is the Equalize button. The Equalize button works best when your scale is below a 1. So if I'm at 1, like 1.5, and I equalize, you're not going to see a big difference. But if I'm at 0.5, then you'll see a difference. So it's basically removing noise from the image. If I play that versus with it off, right? So if you're using a scale that's below 1, you can play with the equalize setting. If not, then don't worry about it. If you want to save your arithmetic setting, just right-click on the effect, choose Save Preset, give it a name. We'll call this Arithmetic Theft. For type, choose Scale, click OK. Go to your Effects tab, go to the top under Presets, open up the Presets category. And there's your saved preset for arithmetic. So if I was to delete this effect, right out in here, in my effect controls, click on it, hit delete on the keyboard, and then reapply it, all of our settings are back. Okay. And that is how arithmetic works in Adobe Premiere Pro.